Hello and welcome to this session of all you wanted to know about the Seat Leon ST, and believe me, you guys want to know more about this car than I do. So, after my last review of the Seat Leon ST, you felt I didn't say enough. Now, I think sometimes it's better not to say too much, but okay, Seat contacted me, gave me this car to help me make my mind up about their new compact station wagon. So here we go. Now, before we go any further, I suggest you watch my previous review of the Seat Leon ST by clicking here, because I will be referring to this review a few times during this review. Now, a brief recap. In the Volkswagen Group, models overlap, and in the recent years they overlap even more than they used to. Back in the day you bought a Seat because you didn't want a Skoda or you didn't want a Volkswagen, but now the Seat slots exactly between the Skoda and the Volkswagen. Or does it? My Polish viewers asked me to compare the Seat Leon ST with similarly spec'd Golf variant and Octavia Combi. And you know what? With high spec, the difference between the three cars is too small to say that people buy Volkswagens because of brand snobbery. Now, the first question is about choosing between a Seat Leon 1.4 TSI 122 horsepower and a Mazda 3 2.0 120 horsepower. Yes, bits and pieces of the Mazda trim look cheap, but Seat's infotainment system is easier to operate, which I shall demonstrate. Now, I like the combination of a touchscreen and the physical buttons because you know where all your main functions are. On the other hand, Mazda 3 is more driver-oriented, and Mazda is also more fun to drive. And yes, naturally aspirated engines are more likely to last longer than the Volkswagen turbocharged engines. On paper, these cars, we're talking about hatchbacks now, have almost the same acceleration and fuel consumption, but I bet that in the long run, fuel consumption figures will be easier to achieve in real life in the Mazda than in the Seat. Next question. Given your, means mine, modest enthusiasm for the Leon, would I prefer the Mazda? Well, if I wanted a car with sat-nav, I would probably go for the Leon because it's just easier to use. I hate the Mazda infotainment system. Also, if I wanted a higher spec version, the Seat Leon ST or hatch, it has more options to choose from than the Mazda. However, if we're talking about base models, I would probably go for Mazda 3. Or should I wait for the new Ford Focus? Well, the new Ford Focus is not really a new Ford Focus, it's just a facelift, and yes, it's coming out in the autumn. It's going to have a new infotainment system. The interior is interesting, and I think it might be a car worth waiting for, at least to check how it feels, to see if it's any better. And if you're looking for small turbocharged engines, then Ford has this brilliant 1.0 EcoBoost, which has 125 horsepower if you choose the strongest, most powerful version. So it might be an interesting choice for you as well. Is it quiet enough on longer journeys? Now, I don't have data to compare with other cars, but here's what I got at 130 kilometers per hour. Does it get boring after a while? Yes, unfortunately it does get boring, and it doesn't take a while for it to get boring. Sorry. Suspension. Now, this is the FR version, and I know the FR version is supposed to be a bit stiffer, but to be honest, I couldn't really tell the difference. On the plus side, even with this supposedly stiffer suspension, the car is very well planted on the road, even on rougher surface, and the suspension is relatively quiet, so there are no thumps, no bumps, and also the interior doesn't squeak or rattle, so yeah, it's quite well put together. Next question, how does the FR compare to the regular Seat Leon ST? Honestly, honestly, whatever difference there is, to me it's not really night and day. Okay, this one has more aggressive bumpers, spoilers, it's got bigger rims and such, but I couldn't really tell the difference. Now, generally this car is very stable, so that's good. And this Leon also comes with these driving mode switch, so you can put it in Eco, Normal or Sport, or you can adjust your own preferences. But again, between Eco and Sport, I don't feel much of a difference. Maybe if I'm pushing it really hard, then in sports mode, the reaction to the gas pedal is a bit more aggressive, but again, it's not night and day. What else do we have here? Okay, yes, in the most powerful versions there is also the dynamic chassis control and the sound changes. Unfortunately, this isn't the most powerful version, so we don't have DCC and we don't have this extra sound when I put it in sports mode. Fuel economy. Okay. SAT says 4.5 liters per 100 kilometers in the combined cycle. I got around 6.5. Now, bear in mind that my measurements are not very scientific, but I try to drive every car along the same routes with the same speed, and I usually get consistent results, meaning that if this is something I get, this is what it really does in real life. Now, usually, the bigger the engine, the better the fuel consumption in real life. This is a 2-liter, 150 horsepower, so I should be getting more like 4.5 or 5. I got 6.5. Well, that's that. And the last question about the folding of the rear seats. In higher trim levels, there are those little levers, you just have to pull them and the seats fold flat. Now, they are standard in higher trim levels, and on lower trim levels, at least here in Poland, they're optional. So you might want to check your options list before you sign the dotted line. Okay, so that's the Seat Leon ST for you. I hope I answered all or at least most of your questions. If you have more questions about Seat Leon ST or any other car, ask them in the comments below. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to my channel by clicking the channel logo in the upper right corner here. New reviews every Friday. Usually they're a bit more dynamic, but this is a special case that we have here. You can also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and Google+. You'll find all the links in the description below. And now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.